Yeah, wow. Weathered a storm, that's for sure. I have known Robin Sherwells over at Evansville for years. We were in the NAIA together. Our first jobs were in the NAIA, so her teams have always been very competitive and play just like that, with that fire, with that run they had. She hugged me after the game and said, "That was a great response from your team." Like, that's the only thing she said, and I was like, wow. I didn't think it was a great response, but I think overall we did a great job of adjusting when we needed to, making sure that we got some really good possessions offensively to continue to trade baskets. I think when you have moments like that, you've got to make sure you score on the offensive end, or get something productive to make sure that the game stays in your favor. And obviously these three were a big part of it. Winning the battle of the boards was huge. Having 10 offensive rebounds was huge. Forcing 18 turnovers, I think that was another piece of it. We did a really good job on the defensive end, especially in that first half through part of the third quarter.
Coach, 100% from the free throw line, almost 50% from the field. Talk about the offensive efficiency.
Oh yeah, we cheered about that in the locker room. We've been shooting free throws every day and wanting to improve that and that become better and more efficient. So they certainly did a good job of that, and that was all the work outside of the game and outside of practice. We didn't dedicate time to free throw shooting in practice. It was like, you need to become better free throw shooters, so get in the gym and make this many every day. And the team dedicated themselves to that, committed themselves to that. So, and we were much more efficient. I think we executed better. Our point guards did a better job of communicating, getting us in offense quicker. We ran a better primary. We had 18 fast break points too. I think that's another piece of it. We've got to push and be in a place of being able to score 75 to 90 a game, but you can't do that if you take your time, walk the ball up, don't run a primary break. We did a much better job of that tonight.
Start with Kyoko. Coach mentioned a response, because Evansville came back and cut it to 2, I think. And you got the steal at midcourt and the lay-in, and then Macy hit back-to-back threes. That put you guys back up 10. Talk about that momentum switch, or that switch that turned on, that, this is getting dicey. We gotta put some distance between us and them.
Yeah, I think we just really saw them hitting a lot of threes and stuff. So I knew we had to get a stop or anything to just get us going. And I think getting that stop, like I said, kept us going. And also Macy's threes, it was nice, and everybody was amped up for it. So I think we just was like, okay, we gotta focus on this, no more threes, and just locking in on our defense.
I have a question for Cyan. Pull that mic. 12 rebounds, 8 points, but 4 assists. We were talking about it on the broadcast. It looks like you take pride in your ability to distribute from inside out. So talk a little bit about, 4 assists to go with your 12 rebounds. That's pretty good.
I always look for my teammates. When I get doubled, I know that it's better if I kick it out, and if I repost, I can get the ball back. But if my teammates are open, if I'm doubled up, that means that somebody's open. So I rather pass it out, and I know my teammates will make the shot. And if I get the rebound, I'll give it back to them.
Cyan, you looked a lot more aggressive tonight too. Just talk about what you saw down there in those edge posts.
Before the game, coach was saying it will be a game where you're gonna have to run the floor and post up and be aggressive, because we've been working on it in practice, and I wanted to show that on the court. And I like a little bit being more aggressive. Coach Liz said that I play better when I'm more aggressive and I'm more upset.
Like Cyan, Adriana, a lot more aggressive down low, and it turned into 42 to 14 points in the paint.
Yeah,
that's
definitely. We've been talking every moment since June 1st when our team came together that we are going to be a team of balance. And I think we had a little bit of a week and a half where we weren't necessarily balanced. We were relying on 1 or 2 players. And if you look at our box score, we have to have players that can have this kind of night, a couple that are close to double digits, and then provide rebounding. That to me is the hardest type of team to guard. That you don't know which player is going to go off on any sort of night. So we've got to stay in that mindset. This Thanksgiving break, we should be dreaming about team basketball and unselfishness.
Lauren, question for you. Very dominant in the mid-range and in the one-on-one game for you. Just talk about your mindset when you were getting the ball tonight and then the
Yeah, I think a lot of that confidence comes from my teammates and my coaches. You know, they put me in positions that they think I'm going to be successful in. So it gives me confidence that if they think I can, you know, make something happen there, then I'm going to trust my skill and things that I've worked on and things that they've told me to do and shown me, and trust that it's going to work out in our favor.
I have a question for all three players in relation to the message Coach gave you after the Northern Illinois game, which was not, I mean, that wasn't you, right? And we talked about it after the game. Lauren, you were sitting there and we were like, you can't throw away the film, but we've got to bounce back and we've got to answer. So what was Coach Sam's message to you guys after that game, leading into this game?
Yeah, I think obviously we pointed out everything that we kind of hurt ourselves. NIU played great, but I think we did a lot of things that kind of what we said was not us. So we took it more as a learning moment. It's great to kind of have, you know, you don't want to have too many of those, but it's good to have it this early, and I think it shows just how dedicated this team is to come back on a night like this and talk about like the paint touches and the primary things we did not do very good in the NIU game, to kind of come out and show that we were thinking about those things. We really mentally prepared ourselves to, you know, bounce back.
And I saw you walking off the court against Northern Illinois. You were visibly upset. So talk about just the mentality of coming back tonight and playing the way you played today.
Yeah, I think it also just comes from practice. Like
Yeah.
the next day at practice, like, well, not next day, but the day after that we came at practice, like just knowing like we have to focus on this, and then we watched film for a long time, so I think that really helped. And coming to practice with that, you know, mentality, just like focusing on defense, energy and everything, and I think we really took that in and just brought that in out on the court.
So now I'll ask you, Coach, like the resiliency of your players to
Yeah.
bounce back after a tough game like this.
No, that's really big. And
Yeah.
Coach T said something in our film session when we were all done. We were there for a long time. And she said, I think everyone also needs to remember that it's one game. And like we all need to breathe and understand that like we got another chance tomorrow to practice, to get better. That was like such a good message for them, because when you watch a long film session, sometimes it can be like, oh, that was a downer, you know? And I could almost see like all their shoulders when she said that. They were like, yeah, she's right. She's right. Former player knows what she's talking about. But I do also want to point out, I think there was 3 other players tonight that were grew tremendously confidence-wise, and that's Sylvie, Maya Cobb gave us some great stuff, and you mentioned Adriana. Like those 3, I think, were due for some really confident, uplifting type games. You know, even Ava Galuza hitting 2 big threes. Like I think those moments for players only helps push them in another direction, makes them grow, helps them get better. Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, one more thing. Shout out to Allie Quigley for my nice retro 90s jacket and a 90s pin.
There you go.
Ashley, before the game even started, looked over at the bench and she said, Coach's jacket is fire.
I know. And all that 90s music, I was like, I'm an 80s baby. I was feeling it. Thank you, guys.
Happy
Thanks so much.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Thanks.
you too. Thank you.